Something massive is brewing in the Middle East, and it's aimed directly at Iran. Right now, the US is moving serious firepower into position. Aircraft carriers, bombers, and elite forces are converging with one clear target in mind. If Iran doesn't back down soon, this could spiral into a devastating military confrontation, one that could reshape the region or even wipe Iran off the map. In this video, we're diving into the chilling reality behind the Pentagon's latest military buildup, and why Iran and its Houthi allies should be seriously alarmed. What's triggering this unprecedented response? What message is the US really sending? And most importantly, how close are we to a full-blown war? Stay with us as we break down the strategy, the stakes, and the potential fallout of what could be one of the most dangerous moments in recent Middle Eastern history. To understand what's happening, we first need to zoom out and look at the larger context. Tensions between the US and Iran are nothing new, but this latest development signals a sharp escalation. The deployment of not one, but two aircraft carriers to the region is a major show of force. Each carrier strike group brings with it dozens of fighter jets, guided missile destroyers, and thousands of personnel. On top of that, strategic bombers, like the B-1 Lancer and possibly B-52s, are being flown into bases within striking range of Iranian territory. This isn't just a deterrent. It's a chess move, and the board is being set for something far more aggressive. So, what triggered this dramatic military surge? Intelligence reports suggest a spike in Iranian activity, especially through its regional proxies. The Houthis in Yemen have ramped up missile and drone attacks, not just against Saudi Arabia, but also targeting international shipping lanes in the Red Sea. These attacks are believed to be greenlit, or at least supported, by Tehran. Meanwhile, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has been stepping up operations in Iraq and Syria, pushing against US positions and arming local militias. The Biden administration seems to be drawing a red line, signaling that any further aggression won't be tolerated, and this time, it's backing that message with firepower. What's especially alarming is the scale and speed of the buildup. In military terms, what we're seeing resembles pre-war posturing. Rapid deployments, heightened readiness levels, and logistical movements all suggest the Pentagon is preparing for a scenario that goes beyond simple deterrence. Analysts believe the US might be positioning itself for a limited strike, or even a full-scale campaign, designed to cripple Iran's military infrastructure. Think air bases, missile silos, command centers. And given how interwoven Iran's military is with civilian areas, the human cost could be catastrophic. Iran's leadership, meanwhile, is putting on a brave face, vowing to resist any aggression and promising retaliation. But behind closed doors, you can bet the regime is nervous. Iran's economy is already in tatters due to years of sanctions, inflation, and internal unrest. A full-blown conflict with the United States could push the country into collapse. Unlike previous flare-ups, this isn't about isolated skirmishes or symbolic airstrikes. If the US pulls the trigger, this could be a campaign with the goal of regime change, or at the very least, a dismantling of Iran's military and nuclear capabilities. Then there's the regional fallout to consider. A strike on Iran won't just affect Tehran, it'll ripple across the Middle East. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Iranian militias in Iraq and Syria, and the Houthis in Yemen could all be activated in response. Israel would almost certainly be drawn in, especially if Hezbollah begins launching rockets from the north. Saudi Arabia and the UAE would be on high alert, possibly targeted by retaliatory strikes. And global oil markets? They'd be thrown into chaos. The Strait of Hormuz, through which nearly a fifth of the world's oil passes, could become a war zone overnight. So, is war inevitable? Not necessarily. The US buildup could be part of a calculated strategy known as coercive diplomacy, basically, threatening overwhelming force to push Iran back to the negotiating table. The White House may be betting that the sheer scale of the threat will force Tehran to reconsider its recent aggressions. But that strategy depends on Iran believing the US is serious about going to war. If Iran calls Washington's bluff, or miscalculates, this could all unravel in a flash. And here's where things get even more dangerous: miscommunication. With military assets from multiple nations crowding the same airspace and waters, the risk of accidental clashes skyrockets. A single misfired missile or misidentified drone could light the fuse. We've seen this happen before. Remember the downing of a US drone in 2019? Or the assassination of Qasem Soleimani in 2020? Those moments nearly ignited a war. And the current situation is far more volatile, with more moving parts and higher stakes. Public opinion also plays a critical role. In Iran, the regime faces growing discontent from within. Widespread protests have rocked the country in recent years, and another war, especially one that brings death and destruction to Iranian cities, could turn that unrest into revolution. The US might be counting on this, hoping that a sharp military blow could weaken the regime's grip. But revolutions are unpredictable, and chaos doesn't always lead to democracy. There's a real danger that a power vacuum could be filled by even more extreme factions. Meanwhile, Washington has its own domestic pressures. With an election year looming, any major foreign policy move will be scrutinized heavily. A successful military campaign could bolster the administration's image of strength. But a drawn-out conflict, or worse, one with high American casualties, could backfire politically. There's also the question of legality. Would a strike require congressional approval? And if it doesn't, would that provoke backlash at home? These are the kinds of behind-the-scenes calculations that are unfolding right now in the halls of power. So where does this leave us? In an incredibly tense and dangerous moment. The US is flexing hard, and Iran is watching closely. Whether this ends in diplomacy or disaster depends on decisions being made in real time, by leaders with very little trust in each other. The next few days and weeks will be critical. One wrong move, one miscalculation, could plunge the Middle East into a conflict the world is not ready for. So keep your eyes on the region, because whatever happens next, it's going to have global consequences. Conclusion: if you've made it this far, you understand just how serious this moment is. The buildup in the Middle East isn't just another headline, it could be the start of something that changes the global balance of power. So, what do you think? Is the US bluffing? Will Iran back down, or are we on the edge of war? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we're watching them closely. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next update, because things are moving fast, and the next development could break at any moment. We'll be here to break it all down, with the facts, the strategy, and the real story behind the headlines. Stay informed, and we'll see you in the next one.